कुंज बिहारी जय राम। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा। गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी। गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा। यशोधानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोधानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानम। यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राम। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राम। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवतीर्नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, text number 34. Shri Yudhishthir Vacha कादृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय इवा भाति हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। श्रीयुधिष्ठिर उवाच कीदृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय इवा भाति हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। श्रीयुधिष्ठिर उवाच कीदृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय इवा भाति हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। श्रीयुधिष्ठिर उवाच कीदृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। श्रीयुधिष्ठिर उवाच कीदृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय इवा भाति हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। श्रीयुधिष्ठिर उवाच कीदृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय इवा भाति हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। माताजी से ओके उवाच शापो हरिदासा विमर्शनः अश्रद्धेय इवा भाति हरेर्एकान्तिनां भवः। Shri Yudhishthira Uvacha. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, Kidrishaha, what kind of, Kasya, whose, Va, or, Shapaha, curse, Haridasa, the servant of Hari, Abhimarshanaha, overcoming, Ashraddheya, incredible, Iva, as if, Abhati, appears, Hare, of Hari, Ekantinam, of those exclusively devoted as exalted attendants, Bhavaha, birth. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, what kind of great curse could affect even liberated Vishnu Bhaktas, and what sort of person could curse even the Lord's associate? For unflinching devotees of the Lord to fall again to this material world is impossible. I cannot believe this. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 8.16, the Lord clearly states, Mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. One who is purified of material contamination and returns home back to Godhead does not return to this material world. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam yevam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Maharaj Yudhishthira therefore was surprised that a pure devotee could return to this material world. This is certainly a very important question. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So first of all, I would seek blessings from all the devotees, specifically senior devotees and learned devotees, seeking your blessings before, so that I can share something which is pleasing to all the devotees and also to Srila Prabhupada. So I'll read the translation once again. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, what kind of great curse could affect even liberated Vishnu Bhaktas, and what sort of person could curse even the Lord's associates? For unflinching devotees of the Lord to fall again to this material world is impossible. I cannot believe this. So today, what we will do is we will discuss on 4 important points or 4 parts. So first we will discuss about whether Lord is partial or not. That is the subject which have been discussed. I think the previous verse is like a completion of that section. So now the new question and the new part is starting. So we will discuss briefly on that. And then next, secondly, we will discuss about the quality of Yudhishthira Maharaj, mainly in this verse and also in this whole section. What is the very important quality of Yudhishthira Maharaj, you will see that. And then this particular, this and next verse is also sort of very, you can say famous or say invokes a lot of controversial questions about the fall of Jiva and all those things. So we'll briefly see what is Prabhupada's perspective on that. And Prabhupada stresses on one specific point very much in this regard. So we'll discuss from that aspect, from the Ramayana. So these are all the 4 things we'll talk about. Partiality of the Lord, and then about Yudhishthira Maharaj's quality, and then Prabhupada's perspective on this fall of Jiva's fall, and then from that Prabhupada's point, what is something very significant to learn, and we'll see some examples from Ramayana. So these 4 things will cover. Okay, so first thing is, as we all know, the 7th canto, this starts with this question, right? How can Lord be partial? He is always sort of favoring the Devatas, Indra and Devatas, and is sort of destroying the demons. Why it is like that, right? In this aspect, Sukadeva Goswami gives a philosophical answer first, and then he quotes this episode of Yudhishthira Maharaj asking a question to Narada Muni, right, in the Rajasuya Yajna, before everyone is asking this question. So, so there he is asking a question. In fact, it is opposite question. He is asking, how come Shishupal, who had blasphemed the Lord so much, how come he has attained the highest perfection? So he is asking the other way, right? Instead of how he has attained the highest destination. And for that, Narada Muni explains how attachment, absorption in the Lord is so great. And since these demons, they were extremely absorbed in the Lord, they also attained. So that is the explanation he gives. And so yesterday, His Holiness Guru Prasad Maharaj gave a very nice point. mainly 2 points I would like to say. One is he talked about how, he said how Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur quotes, and he says that Krishna does not award bhakti. So he told one nice point yesterday. Because if Krishna awards bhakti, then it may be, people may say he is partial, he is not. So Maharaj was telling that how devotees only awards bhakti. So that is one nice point he talked about. And also another interesting thing he said was, because I had this, what is the connection between this partiality and this? Maharaj told about how Krishna, the question also indirectly indicates, because yesterday's verse is about Narada Muni is telling, oh best of the Pandavas, your two cousins, Shishupala and Dantavakra, the sons of your maternal aunt, were formerly associates of Lord Vishnu, but because they were cursed by the Brahmanas, they fell from Vaikuntha to this material world. So that's what he says. So there he indirectly indicates they were your cousins. Of course, cousins of Krishna also. So Maharaj also pointed out how Krishna did not reward Shishupal liberation because he was his cousin. So that is one point Maharaj told also. Why? Because they were Jaya Vijaya and they had to be sent back. That is the whole background, right? So that way also we see Krishna is not partial. He is not telling, okay, he is my cousin, so let me give him, and some other, it's not like that. So that also Maharaj spoke very beautifully. Okay, so if you see Shishupal, there is a beautiful, so as we all know Shishupal's story, Shishupal is the cousin of Krishna, right? That means Vasudev's sister was Shrutashuba, who was, Shishupal was born to Damagosha and Shrutashuba. So that's how he is related from what we call it as Attai. And even, Attai, right? Attai's son. So in one of the Alvars, Nammalvar, there is a very beautiful verse where he explains, I'll just read one line and then explain it. So it is in Tamil. So what he says is, Ketpargal Kesavan Kirti Allal Matrum Ketparo. That means, is there anyone who can hear other than the glories of Keshava about Krishna? He says. And then he says, Ketpar Sevisudu Kirmai Vasavugale Vayum Senpal Padam Pagaivan Shishupalan. So what he says about Shishupala is, Ketpar Sevisudum. So basically what he says very beautifully. So Ketpar means one who is willing to hear. Okay. So what he is telling is, see, obviously when Shishupal spoke, blasphemed Krishna, devotees like Bhishma were feeling very bad. That is there, right? Obviously. But what he is telling is, Ketpar means one who is very eager to hear about from Shishupal. For example, when we have class, right? Bhagavad Katha or something, there are a lot of devotees who come to eager to hear. Like that, Shishupal also had a lot of followers, right? We know Duryodhana and Jarasandha, many people were there, Rukmi and all. So those people used to come, okay, he is giving class now about Krishna's blasphemy. So let us come in here. So what he says here is, Ketpar Sivisudu means even such people who are against Krishna, when they heard about the blasphemy of Krishna from Shishupal, their ears were burning, it seems. Terribly, oh, he is speaking like that. So they were feeling that, oh, he is speaking so terribly, so blasphemous of Krishna. So what this Alvar says is, such a person, Shishupal was attained perfection because Krishna was so merciful, even gave liberation to him. That is what this Alvar says. Okay, so this is the mercy of Lord we see in this pastime. And also there is a beautiful saying, a nice saying in Tamil, just about the partiality of the Lord. Oh, he is not partial, sorry, from that perspective. So it says, it's a very simple only. Lord, oru kurangai kondran, oru kurangai katan. That means, what Lord protected one monkey and he killed one monkey and protected one monkey. Okay. Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, he killed one monkey and he protected one monkey. What is that? Vali and Sugriva, right? He killed Vali and protected Sugriva. And he killed one Rakshasa and protected one Rakshasa. Ravana and Vibhishana. Ravana is a Rakshasa, he was killed and then he protected Vibhishana. He killed one Asura and protected one Asura. See, Asura Rakshasa, right? See, Rakshasas are like the separate species who were created to protect the waters or something like that, Brahma's creation. Whereas Asuras are like specific descendants of Diti, we all know, the sons of Diti. So, one Asura he killed and one Asura he protected. Who is that? Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. And then, or Anayi Kondran, or Anayi Katan. One elephant he killed and one elephant he protected. Gajendra he protected and Kuvaleyapida he killed Kuvaleyapida and protected Gajendra. And then Hare also says, or Attanai Kondran, or Attanai Katan. Attan means Atta is son. That means cousin. In English, we have only one word, cousin. So, Attan in Tamil means, even this is not used nowadays in Tamil. And that means Atta is son. That means cousin. So, he killed one, who is that? Shishupal. And he protected. Who is that? Pandavas or Arjuna mainly. Yeah? You can say that. So this way, you see, one monkey he killed, one monkey he protected. One Rakshasa he killed, one Rakshasa he protected. One Asura he killed, one Asura he protected. One elephant he killed, one elephant he protected. And one of his cousin, he killed and another he protected. Okay? So this is a simple saying which shows that how Lord is not partial. Correct? He's not partial that because he is a particular species or particular he is my relative, Lord is not partial. Okay? So this shows his impartiality of the Lord. Okay? So this is one thing which we see. Next, the second point, what we will see is about Yudhishthira Maharaj here. So basically here if you see in this shloka, there is a word which says Ashraddheya. Ashraddheya means what? Prabhupada translates as incredible. Incredible means he's saying, I can't believe. Now, how can I believe this? Yeah. So obviously this is not based on like some stubborn or some question or anything like that. He wants to understand. He's very amazed because he says, as per my experience, I have never seen someone like Jayavijaya who are Parshadas of the Lord. How can they be cursed by someone else also? No? Some other devotees also. Who is, first of all, how can they be cursed? And second is, who is so powerful to curse them? So that is his question, right? So from this we see also Yudhishthira Maharaj honesty and humility, right? See, this is not a private question he is asking, right? As we see before, the Rajasuya sacrifice before all the rishis and sages and everything is bringing out this question. Correct? See, sometimes if we have a question and we feel that it is not very appropriate to ask, we may personally go and ask. We may not ask publicly, correct? But here we also see the honesty and humility of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He is directly asking this question. And also because he knows it will also benefit others. Because sometimes we see, right, when some great devotees, speakers are there, after the class, some devotees surround and ask a lot of questions, correct? Sometimes even the speaker or others may feel, oh, this is a very nice question. Actually, he could have asked in the sabha or in the class itself so that all others could benefit, correct? It happens, right, many times. Because if we answer one particular question, only that person will be benefited. But if you ask in the sabha, everyone will be benefited. So this also shows the honesty and humility of Yudhishthira Maharaj and how he is compassionate to all others also. Okay. And this whole section, we also see this Vaikuntha spirit of how the devotees think others better than themselves, right? Just before few verses, we saw Narada Muni, what he said? He said that I feel that the demons, their absorption is much better than devotees. Like that is what he says. Of course, Prabhupada there immediately says that, no, that is not mistake. Actually, he is very great. He is telling out of humility, right? Prabhupada immediately clarifies. So similarly, we see that later after 10 chapters, at the end of the pastime, after glorifying Prahlad Maharaj, what was the consciousness of Yudhishthira Maharaj? Yudhishthira Maharaj feels that, oh, Prahlad Maharaj is such a great devotee, maybe I am not so great. So for that, immediately what Narada Muni does? Narada Muni says, no, don't think like that, you are so great. And he says, this shloka, famous shloka of Yuyam Driloke Bhataburi Bhaga. So what he says there is, my dear Maharaj Yudhishthira, all of you, the Pandavas are extremely fortunate, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna lives in your palace just like a human being. Great saintly person know this very well and therefore they constantly visit your house. And he also says that how Lord was he was acting as your personal servant and also as your spiritual master. Right? Personal servant in the sense, Prabhupada explains that he took the message, messenger is not a very great thing. So he took the message to as a Pandava Duta event and also he instructed Arjuna in the battlefield and acted as a spiritual master. So like this he encourages Yudhishthira Maharaj that you are not no ordinary person. So this also shows the great quality of Yudhishthira Maharaj. See, if you see technically speaking, we have in this Brihad Bhagavatamrita also, right? Prahlad Maharaj is in the Shantaras and then Hanuman and then Pandavas are in the Sakya Bhav, right? So in that sense, if you see, he is in a... But still, what was the humility of Yudhishthira Maharaj? He felt that I am not a great devotee, but Prahlad Maharaj was great. That was his quality, right? That's how it is. So this is also another great quality we see of Yudhishthira Maharaj, asking for the benefit of others and also with his honesty and humility. So recently I came across one very nice point, not directly connected, but very beautifully. Arjuna, if you see in Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter also, it seems when Krishna first describes about the divine qualities and then demonic qualities, right? So it seems Arjuna had suddenly had a doubt whether I am having divine or demonic quality. So for that we know Krishna, famous shloka, Krishna says, Daivi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya asuri mataha mashucha sampadam daivim abhijatoshi Pandava. Oh Pandava, he says about these two qualities are, oh Pandava, mashucha, do not worry, you are of the divine qualities, like that he says. So this also shows similar to how Yudhishthira Maharaj felt. Arjuna felt that maybe which category I belong to, right? Maybe sometimes we don't get such question only, but we can see great devotees how they get questioned like this, what category I belong to. So here, so Acharya has explained very beautifully that there are three places in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna told Ma Suchaha. So the first one was when Arjuna was bewildered. Now what is dharma, what is adharma, and he was out of material compassion he was confused about his duty. So that time Krishna instructed about oh, you are not the body, you are the soul. There also Krishna says Ma Sucha many places, right? Natvam socheti marhasi, nanu socheti marhasi, many places he says. So that is the first time where Krishna says Ma Sucha, do not worry. And it is said this is the second place where he has a doubt whether I am Asura or a Deva. There also Krishna consoles him, Ma Sucha, do not worry. Right? Because obviously, see, you have been hearing about my glory so much, in 10th chapter, and then he wanted to see the Vishwarupa form of the Lord. Whatever Krishna, how he is pervaded everywhere, he wanted to see in one particular form. So he had so much eagerness. Obviously, you cannot be you cannot be Asura, you cannot have Asuri qualities, you are Deva only, like that he assures him. And then the third place, as you know, the famous Sarvodharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam, where Arjuna is thinking, what you are told so many things, am I qualified, which path to adopt? There Krishna says, do not worry, just surrender to me. I will relieve you from all sinful reaction, do not fear. Ma Suchaha, there also is. So this is how we see great devotees, how they sort of exhibit their humility, which for us to aspire for. Okay, now coming to this particular topic, so as we are aware, this verse and the next verse has been, so there is a lot of questions amongst devotees also about whether Jiva fell from the spiritual world or from Brahma Jyoti and all that. It's a very big controversial thing. Okay. So we will see a few points what Prabhupada was talking, Prabhupada's perspective on this. Okay. So, as we all know, the main thing what was Prabhupada's focus was, Prabhupada says, don't focus on why you came. That is not most important thing. What you are going to do now, how you are going back, that is the most important thing, correct? That is the main stress what Prabhupada stresses about that only. And for this, Prabhupada also, in a letter, he gives a very nice response, what he called as crow and tall fruit logic. So, what he says is, Prabhupada says that there was a crow which was in a tree. Okay? A tall tree, crow was there, and the crow just came out of the tree. There were so many great scholars and many intellectuals who were standing and they were just observing. Okay? So they saw that the tall fruit was falling and the crow was going out. So one scholar, one person said, actually, the crow had hit the tall fruit, that is why the tall fruit fell. Another person said, no. Actually, it was just a coincidence that crow left and then at the same time that was coincidence. And then another person said, no, the tall fruit was very, very, it was ripe, it was very ripe, and it was just because he sat there, it immediately fell, that is it. So like that, all of them were arguing. Prabhupada says, what is the big use of this logic, discussing, why it fell and all those things, right? So this is the example Prabhupada gives, that what is important is not to talk about why it happened and all those things, why to debate and create divisions and conflicts around it. Okay. How is it going to help, basically, right? So ultimately, what is important is how to get out of this place. That is what is more important, right? That is what Prabhupada stresses. And actually, if you see Prabhupada's conversations, there is a nice Acharya series also, Prabhupada. One person sits and asks Prabhupada about independence and all this. So Prabhupada stressed a lot on this particular point. He says, independent means, he says, Prabhupada says, independence means one can misuse also, correct? That's the meaning of independence, right? If you say that you have been given free will, but you have to only do this, that means it is not independent. Independent means you can do mistakes also, you can, right? Basically, you can fail also, right? That is what is, you can misuse. Or Prabhupada says, you can be foolish, misuse. Independence means you can be foolish also, that's what he says. And he gives many examples like, He says, Prabhupada says, he says, there was a person in Calcutta who became attracted to a girl from a lower society, and because of that he married her, and then he became a tela wala, he says. He used to pull carts and all those things. So Prabhupada says because of his independence, his free will, he had the option, but he became like that. So that's what Prabhupada gives as an example. And then very nicely, Sir Prabhupada says in some other place, that Prabhupada says, suppose, it's very graphical, we can understand easily. Prabhupada says, suppose some young girl proposes to me or, want to marry me. Prabhupada says, no, I will not, because I already had an experience. I already had a bad experience. Correct? We can imagine it is quite impossible, right? Prabhupada getting attracted to, right? So Prabhupada himself tells this example. So like this, what it means is, so yadgatva na nivartante. So one will not come back at all. So Prabhupada says here, basically what it means is, in the spiritual world, everyone has 100% free will. Right? 100% free, everyone, of course. Here also everyone has 100% free will. But in the spiritual world, everyone, even though they have 100% independence, much more than the material world also, because there is no constraint of body or anything like that. Correct? So even though they have 100% independence like the Lord, but still they exhibit 100% dependence on the Lord. Correct? That's the beauty of the spiritual world. In the Vaikuntha world, even though everyone has 100% independence, but they are 100% dependent on the Lord. They don't misuse their independence only. They don't 100% properly, they use their free will. Okay? So this is one thing we see very much in this. So in the next purport also, what is the main point, at least in the context of Jaya Vijaya, what Prabhupada says is, Jaya Vijaya falling is nothing about, it's totally Lord's will. That is what he says. Like, just like how Lord appears, descent in this world, like that the devotees also descent. For this there is a purpose, right? Because Lord wanted to fight, he wants someone equal to him and thing. That is why Lord make him appear. So in this case it is very clear. So the whole point is, Prabhupada's focus in this is, it is not about what is, whether this is the reason or that is the reason, that is not the point. Right? So Prabhupada says the most important thing is, why you have come, not important, what you are going to do, that is more important. And in this context, Prabhupada stresses a lot on this aspect of using the independence properly. Correct? That's the main thing. It means, like we see, this is a very strong instruction with Prabhupada lectures also we can hear so much. Prabhupada always used to say, you are not independent, you are always dependent. Correct? This is a very strong instruction which we hear and read in Prabhupada's teachings. You are not independent, you are a dependent. That's the thing always he says. Okay. So now, taking this point further, we will discuss about this independence or the proper use of independence with few examples from Srimad Ramayanam. We can see few examples. So first, we will see about Ravana. Right? I think in earlier one of the discussions we discussed about Ravana, how actually I had made a list of who all the people who advised Ravana, almost some 12, 13 people. Right? So many people advised Ravana, we all know, right? Starting from the beginning, Maricha advised, Sita Devi herself advised, Atayu advised. So many people gave advice, right? And his own side also, his grandfather advised, his wife advised. So many people gave advice. Kumbhakarna also gave advice. So many people gave advice, but he was extremely stubborn and obstinate. He was, he was showing his sort of independence, misuse of his independence so strongly. Correct? He said, no, I will not. Whatever I do, I will not give back Sita. I will not. That was what was his motive. So, the Ramayanam, there is a very beautiful verse where what happens is, as we know, there was a huge fight, 10-day huge war between Rama Ravana Yuddham, which is considered so much, incomparable at all. So, at the end of the war, what happens is Ravana was killed, right? Obviously. And then at that time, Vibhishana is hesitating to do the final rites for Ravana. He says he's such a sinful person. He was so much against you and kidnapped Sita and such a person, I don't want to do the final rites. So at that time, Lord Ram, he says, no, you must do. You must do his final rites. And there is a very beautiful, important verse in the Ramayanam where which says, where Lord says, Maranantani Vairani Nivritam na Prayojanam. Kriyatamasya samskaro mamapyesha yatatava. Okay, this is the shloka. Maranantani Vairani. What it means is, Vairani means what? The enmity or hostility, right? Enmity. Maranantani Vairani. Marana means when someone dies with the death, the enmity also ends. Okay? So this is the external meaning we will see, and there is a deeper meaning also. Okay? Maranantani Vairani. Okay? And then Nivritam na Prayojanam. And he says our main purpose has been accomplished. Okay? So the external meaning is what? Is dead now. Now all the enmity is gone. And then our purpose of killing Ravana and getting back Sita is achieved now. Okay? And then what he says, Kriyatamasya samskaro. So now he says, let the funerals be performed now. Okay? The funeral should be done now. And then he says, Mamapyesha yatatava. Just like how Ravana is related to you, like that he is also related to me, Lord Ram says. Okay? That means, basically he is telling, if you don't do, I will do the final rites. So that's what the compassion of Lord Ram. So Lord Ram, this is what he says. Okay? So the meaning is, hostilities end with death. Our purpose has been accomplished. Let his funeral rites be performed. He is even as good to me as yours. Okay? That is what Lord Ram says. So this is the external meaning. So one question may be raised, how Lord Ram can say this, Maranantani Vairani. I had a great enmity. So Acharya says, actually Lord Ram didn't have enmity with Ravana. Correct? Means Ravana had enmity, but Lord Ram did not consider. How we see this in many places. He gave so many chances. Correct? In fact, that is the whole purpose of his descent, right? To give so much chance. And even Acharya says, even in the Tamil, they say, Sirai Pugundaval Etram. That means, they say, even Sita also, she voluntarily entered into Lanka. That's what they say. Basically, just so that she can give advice and give some chance to Ravana. And similarly, Lord Ram also gave so many advice. Correct? So much advice. And there is a famous shloka where he says, Yadiva Ravana Swayam. So, whoever comes, in the Vibhishana's time, that time even Ravana comes, we'll accept, he says. Okay? And then we also know, in the war also, one of the days, he is totally ripped off all these weapons and everything. Ravana. That time Lord Ram says, go today and come tomorrow. Think deeply, and even now, if you give back Sita, we will forget everything and we will make friendship. That was how Lord Ram was giving so many chances to Ravana. So with this we see, there is no Vaira, or he didn't have great enmity with Ravana. Ravana only had, but Lord Ram didn't have the enmity. Right? So for Lord Ram to say that now he is dead now the enmity is gone, doesn't make so much, it's not so perfect. Okay? So, and then also he says, now the Prayojana, main purpose is accomplished, he has been killed and all those things. So, Acharyas, what they explain is, actually here, what Lord Ram is telling is, Maranantani Vairani means, this enmity was with Ravana. See, Ravana had great enmity, that as we saw, seeing independence, right? That misuse of independence he had, that was the greatest extent. He is himself, of course, Shishupal himself, right? The previous version of Shishupal, correct? So, he had so much of enmity and hatred towards Lord Ram. What was happening was, Lord Ram was willing to show his mercy, but he was not ready to accept it. Right? So, his misuse of free will was so much, his misuse of independence, that he was, Lord Ram was ready to give him mercy, but he was saying, no, I cannot accept mercy. I will not accept your mercy. But now, what Lord Ram says is, Maranantani Vairani means, now he is now dead, at least in this, his body is, right, he is dead now. Now, if I want to do some good things to him, he cannot refuse. Correct? No? Very beautiful. So, if now I want to perform the final rites, now he cannot refuse. Right? Now he says, no, you cannot do anything. Right? So, that is the inner meaning. So, Lord Ram says, the purpose has been accomplished means, is Vaira or is enmity or hatred or envy towards Lord, that was so extreme that he was not ready to accept the mercy of the Lord. So, Lord is saying, now, since he is dead now, he cannot refuse to accept my mercy. So now he can be, now you do his final rites. So that is what Lord says. So very beautiful, right? So mainly what is expected is from our side, we should not stop that, no, I don't want you. That much if we do it, so Lord is so much ready to give us our mercy. So beautiful, no? So Lord Ram is so merciful. Lord is so merciful, he is ready to give us, if we are just saying no to the Lord, okay? Not even very consciously saying, yes, I want you or anything. If you don't say no also, Lord is ready to give mercy. Correct? That's what we see even in our services, book distribution, and when we reach out to people also, right? We want to see if people are not envious or averse to this, right? I don't want. Someone says, I don't want, if it's a little bit okay also, that is also a great thing, correct? No? So that is the meaning of this word. Maranantani Vairani Nivrittam na prayojanam. So this is the purpose what has been achieved. So that is what Lord says. So this is the beautiful meaning. So lesson for us is at least we should not stop Lord that show our independence so much and misuse our independence so much that Lord's mercy we can't accept it. Okay? So that is the lesson we learn from this. And of course, from the Lanka side only we see a very positive example of Vibhishana, right? So we may say, okay, situation was like that. We would have, if we were in Vibhishana's position, we would have told, what is this? I have all bad association, nothing can be done, right? But Vibhishana was properly using his free will, his independence, correct? Where he says, he comes and surrenders. Sarva Loka Sharanyaya Raghavaya Mahatmane. So he comes and surrenders that, oh Lord Ram, you are the protector of everyone, please, I surrender to you, and please accept. Right? And Lord Ram says, even if once someone comes and says, I'm yours, I will accept. Right? That's what Lord Ram proclaims. So here we see misuse of independence and how the proper use of independence even from the demon side. And now coming to Ayodhya, we see the topmost exhibition of submission or obedience to the Lord. Okay? Or you can say total opposite of independence is extreme obedience. Is the example of Bharata. Okay? So in Sanskrit there is a term called as, for Bharata, what is used is called as Paratantriyam. Paratantra means Swatantra means independence. Paratantra means full dependence or full obedience to the Lord. So that is exemplified by Bharata. Because if we see in one sense, Ravana did not hear anyone's advice, right? So same thing Bharata's case also. Bharata, when he comes here, everyone gives him advice that you become the king, right? He says no, and there is a shloka, there is a particular section in Ramayana where Vashishta comes and Vashishta says, see, now everything is there, you accept. And can you imagine, Bharata actually gets very angry at Vashishta and scolds him. How can he tell like that? Can you imagine, Vashishta is such a person, he is son of Brahma, right? Vashishta is such a senior personality and he gets extremely angry with him. So we see in the case of Bharata how so many advices were given. See, nobody is going to blame Bharata, right? Because you may say, okay, what can I do? I will do my best. And he could have told something. But he was extremely firm on his conviction that I cannot do it. So and there is a very beautiful verse in the Ramayana where this is to Vashishta where he says, okay, very, very beautiful verse, very important verse also. So he says, Katam Dasharata Jato so he says Katam Dasharata Jato Bhaved Rajya Apakarakaha Rajyamcha Ahancha Rajyamcha Ahamcha Ramasya Dharma Vaktum Arhasi. So what he says is, there are two parts he says. First thing he says, Katam Jata Dasharata Bhaved Rajya Apakarakaha. That means, he says, first thing he says, in a worldly level, how can I take the kingdom? How can I become the king? So he says, in the worldly sense, if you see, how can I become Apakara? How can I become a thief? Right? So first thing is, Rama is, Dasharatha Maharaj, he is not there now, he is dead. And second, Rama, who is supposed to be the king, he is sent to the forest. That means both Dasharatha is also not there, Rama is not there. At that time, if he come and occupy kingdom, I will be the thief. Correct, no? So from the worldly perspective, it is totally wrong, is what one thing is. Right? We hear this also, right? Gaurang Prabhu tells this example many times. Prabhupada, Prabhupada explaining once how you are taking everyone's property, you are a thief. And someone came and told, I have given donation on this. Prabhupada, you are a smaller thief, right? So, like that, externally speaking, he says, totally it is wrong. Okay? I cannot, Rama has gone to Vanavas, my father has also left this world. How can I take that kingdom? That is like stealing, right? I cannot do. Next, more important, what he says from the Vedantic perspective, what he says is, Rajyamcha Ahamcha Ramasya. Okay, this is very, very important point. What he says, Rajyamcha Ahamcha Ramasya. That means both the Rajyam, kingdom, and myself both belong to Lord Ram. Okay, both are property of Lord Ram. So in Sanskrit, this word Swami, we many times use multiple words, master, many things. One of the main meanings of Swami is proprietor or owner. Right? So what he says here is, kingdom also belongs to Lord Ram. Right? Rajyamcha Ahamcha Ramasya. It means Rajyam also belongs to Lord Ram. And I also belong to Lord Ram. Correct? So how can I rule over the Rajyam, he says. Beautiful point, right? That means if there are two properties, suppose we get up and go. If I say that, the table, please take care of this chair. Can I say that? Doesn't make any sense, right? Because both are property, just like an inert object or a achit vastu when it is there. So that is the level of Bharata's surrender to Lord. Just like a property, how you take one property and keep it there, like where doesn't it exhibit his independence, correct? No? Right? If, for example, even a small just born child also, you can see, it exhibits independence, right? Want to drink something, doesn't want to do, correct? No? That's how it is. Right? So, but innate object, material object, if we say, we take this, put it there, it will be remaining as it is. So, what he is saying is, Rajyam cha aham cha Ramasya. Both he and myself, both the kingdom and myself, both are property of Lord Ram. How can I rule over the Rajyam, which is not correct? That is how he says. Yeah. And then the Acharyas explain in this connection. See, for example, one may say, what about a jewel box? See, for example, there is a jewel box we have, right? Jewel is also an object, a box is also an object. So, the jewel box protects the jewel, correct? So, one may say there is possibility, right? But here also very simple. It cannot automatically, it will not go inside, right? Someone has to go and put it inside, correct? So, what he says is, Lord Ram has not told me that you have to take care of this kingdom. If you had ordered me or done something, that is a different thing. On his behalf, I may just protect. Just like a jewel box is protecting the jewel. But in this case, how can I do it? He says, no, it is not possible. So, that was the sort of extreme dependence and obedience of Bharata. Okay? Extreme is an extreme sense of obedience of Bharata, what we see here. Rajyam cha aham cha Ramasya. So that is what is told. Yeah. And then he says, actually, what he says, see, this is something which you are supposed to do in this matter. Dharmam vaktum iha arhasi. You are supposed to explain this to me. I am telling you this. So he is telling Vashishta, you are supposed to instruct me all these things. But I am telling you this, like that, of course, he does many other things also further. And then what you see the level of his surrender and sort of, as he said, Paratantriyam, the dependence and obedience to the Lord. The entire, he convinces everyone, and then the whole army, with all so many, because he feels that if I am alone going, but if there are so many people, if they are asking Lord Ram, there is more chances of he coming back, right? So he's taking a big army of elephants, this one, so many people, Ayodhyavasis, everyone marching towards meeting Lord Ram in Chitrakoot. And then he speaks to Lord Ram, and of course, finally, Lord Ram says, no, I cannot, because my father's this one, I already taken that vow. Then finally agrees, and finally he says, no, now also I will not do. Then he takes his Paduka and keeps Paduka as the king and rules for 14 years. And many devotees, Govind Prabhu and many others, they say that there was almost 10 times the whole, the GDP or what you call it as, the economy multiplied 10 times it seems. That means he was not just lazy, okay, I will not do, not like that. He was very active also, but at the same time extremely surrendered that I can't, I'm not the owner or, that was his sense of proprietorship. Sense of non-proprietorship, that is how it was. Okay, so even recently, just one more example if we also see about His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, when we hear his, about his glories, one very striking point to us, we also heard, right, someone had donated a big place for to Maharaj in Vrindavan, right? So nobody would question Maharaj, right, if he takes it or, nobody would question. But what was Maharaj's mood? This is what is called as voluntary use of independence perfectly. What Maharaj said, no, I cannot use this. Use this for Vrindavan's temple, correct? That's what he said. So, and many other things. Of course, his whole will also very, very inspiring and exemplary. So, this is how we see great devotees, how they exemplify this quality of full dependence on the Lord and not being independent. Okay? So, that is what we learn from this. So, briefly what we discussed today, we first saw about this partiality of the Lord. Lord is not partial at all. So, we saw this verse from the Alvar also. How you are speaking so harsh words, Shishupal, but even the other, those who are envious of Krishna, they also used to be terrified, hearing this. They were also feeling a little bad about it. Okay, such a person, he gave him liberation. So this is one glorification we saw, and also we saw this different things. How Lord is not partial, killing a monkey. We saw this, he killed one monkey and protected one monkey, and then one asura and one rakshasa. And then the elephant, and then all those things we saw. And then we saw the great quality of Yudhishthira Maharaj in this question also. He was not sort of ashamed or hesitant to ask this question. He is telling directly, I can't believe this only. It's extremely, how can I do this? But he is clarifying just for the benefit of others, and also this shows the honesty and humility of Yudhishthira Maharaj. We also saw quality of Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj himself, how he was exhibiting the quality of Vaikuntha consciousness. What is Vaikuntha consciousness? Everyone else is better than me, right? That is Vaikuntha consciousness. So we saw this, and also we saw example of Arjuna also having the same feeling. And then we saw this Jiva's fall down. What was Prabhupada's perspective? He was not very specific about whether this is right or that is right. His main point is, that is not very important. How you go back is important. And also Prabhupada stressed a lot on proper use of independence, right? And not to misuse independence with various examples. So that is what is more important than the details of exactly which is correct and all those things. And then we saw the example of, we saw the example of independence from the perspective of first Ravana. How Ravana totally misused. Lord Ram had to finally kill him and then give him some do good things. That Maranantani Vairani, we saw that verse. And then we also saw how Vibhishana properly used his independence, even though he was totally in the other side. And from this Ayodhya side, in fact, Ayodhya side, you can see Kaikeyi, she also misused independence, correct? Even though she was in this side and so much dear to Lord Ram, she also misused. And we also saw the ultimate example of Bharata being totally sold out servant. Actually, there's a very nice point. One great Acharya named Vedanta Desikan in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, he has written 1,000 verses about Paduka, Lord's Paduka. So what he says is, just to relish, what he says is, Paduka was much more greater obedience than Bharata also, he said. Because Bharata, at least he said, no, I will not accept, and argued a lot of things. But what Paduka did, Paduka was first in Ayodhya, and then came to the forest, and then given to Bharata and went to the throne. And after that again, whatever Paduka was taken, Paduka Devi, she is also a person, right? Paduka Devi was even greater, higher position than Bharata. Like that he relishes. So this is what briefly we saw today. So what mainly lesson we learn is how to properly use our free will and independence in serving the Lord, and not to be disobedient or misuse our free will. So that's the main lesson we can see from this fasting. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? We have so many senior learned devotees also. So even if I can't answer, they can. Any comments, Prabhu? Anything?
A question for you. Thank you very much for the class. Prabhu, you said that the main one point about using our independence, even like you said, in spiritual world they have 100% independence, but they are still 100% dependent. So like when we are outside association, that is the thing. The one thing is desire. Then even if let's say we have desire, we don't have so much desire, intense desire, we don't have strength, then, and for how, even let's say artificially we are going, for how long can we go on being dependent, that because that inside that desire will be there. So what is the practical thing we can do in that case?
Practical thing is basically association only. So if you don't get physical association, now there are various other means to get association. And also see this whole process, it also, time also, with time also we get maturity. That is also there. See, sometimes we are so much, it's good to have eagerness. Sometimes we are impatient that we should immediately become 100% dependent on the Lord, because we have been time immemorial, we have been against the Lord, right? Of course, we have to be intensive and we should have that great desire, that is there, but certain things also take some time. We may have to get some bad experience or bad, correct, no? Because many times we learn from bad experience more than good advice. So mainly take association more and more. That's how it is. Who has great desire? See, personalities like what we discussed, Bharata, and on great, we saw even contemporary examples of so many Prabhupada disciples like Gopal Krishna Maharaj. What level of surrender and obedience, extreme, correct? So when we associate and hear from such personality, we may also develop such quality that and sort of subdue our independent mentality to enjoy. So by association only, ultimately.
Hare Krishna. So I had two questions. So first question is, you spoke about Yudhishthira Maharaj's greatness, how he was pure devotee of Krishna. So if he was pure devotee, then why he hesitated to speak lie when Krishna told him to speak lie in Mahabharata? That is one question. And second question is, I have heard, I'm not sure if it is there in some scripture, that Yudhishthira Maharaj had to go through hell because he spoke lie to Krishna before he went back. So
I will answer after that. Prabhu. Okay. See, one thing is, this is, first of all, very great devotees, what they do, that is also Krishna's arrangement to teach a lesson. Once Bhanu Maharaj was telling very nicely, not only pure devotees, he said, he was telling about even the Devatas, when they do mistake, we hear about. So Maharaj was telling very nicely that this is Lord's arrangement. Lord will use only his own people to teach lessons to the entire world, right? So for that purpose, when great devotees act in certain way, it is not that they are not pure or they are impure or not like that. It is Lord is orchestrating through them. That is one basic thing to understand. And also, like various lessons, various point of view we can understand. One is, even if someone is a great person, if he does, what will happen, right? Prabhupada says in the context of Bhishma also, right? Krishna wanted to show, even if such a great devotee, such a great person, if he is in the wrong side, see what will happen. So Krishna wanted to show who else he can see. His own servants only he can use to teach to the world, right? So that is what we can learn from this. Not to question why he did like that also. Okay? And also from a general perspective, we can also say, Yudhishthira Maharaj, that dharmic, he didn't, see, there are two perspectives to this. He told a lie, because of this he went to hell. That is one aspect, you know. That is one aspect. Another aspect, what we say is, because he didn't, Krishna told him he didn't obey, that is why. These are two different perspectives. Both can be correct also. Getting Prabhuji, anything you want to add?
I'm not knowing about the later part, he's going to hell, but Acharyas have told that his chariot would always fly above the ground, some 1 inch or something like that. But when he hesitated to tell the lie, so his chariot fell down for a moment. So that was not proper for him. He should have lied. Lied means it was not a lie, because absolute truth is telling, so it cannot be a lie. It is absolutely absolute truth. Absolutely. But he hesitated, so it fell down. So later part I don't know, but he should have spoken the way Krishna said.
Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.